Good evening, and welcome to the Wednesday, November 16th Town Board Legislative Meeting. I'd like to call this meeting to order, and would you please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Would the town clerk please call the roll?
Cinti.
Here.
Drawe. Here. Kohl.
Here.
Lee. Here. And Akadin is absent.
Okay, thank you. I just want to go over a highlight of our agenda. We're going to start with our communication and announcements. Due to a personnel issue, we are going to break into executive session for a very brief executive session after communication and announcements, and we'll go into our public hearing and public participation and the rest of our agenda. So appreciate your flexibility as we just adjust the order a little bit. All right, so we have a very special presentation or proclamation to deliver to the Penfield Business Chamber, and we have 4 representatives from the Chamber with us today. Kathy Gueno, Administrative Director, Amity Decker, the President, and Daria Reitnick and Lori Enos, both members of the Board of Directors, correct? Would you like to come up and take a seat, and we will read a proclamation for Small Business Saturday. You're going to crowd around, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
We like each other. Yeah. That's good.
Well, I'm very delighted to read this. As you know, the PBC is very near and dear to my heart, so I am delighted to read that a proclamation for Small Business Saturday, whereas the town of Penfield, New York, recognizes the importance of local small businesses and the important contributions they make to our local economy and community. And whereas, according to the United States Small Business Administration, there are roughly 31 million small businesses in the United States. And whereas small businesses employ almost 50% of employees in the private sector in the United States, with most U.S. consumers feeling a personal commitment to support small businesses in the wake of the pandemic. And whereas residents benefit from easy access to Penfield's business districts and thriving farm markets throughout the year and holidays, and whereas the town of Penfield supports local businesses that create jobs, boost our local economy, and preserve our community, and the town is committed to providing entrepreneurs and small business owners the support they need to thrive and grow through the Office of Developmental Services and business-friendly streamlined zoning procedures, and whereas public and private organizations from across the nation, including Penfield Business Chamber, have endorsed the Saturday after Thanksgiving as Small Business Saturday. Now, therefore be it resolved that I, Marie Cinti, Supervisor of the Town of Penfield, New York, do hereby proclaim Saturday, November 26th, as Small Business Saturday in the Town of Penfield, and urge our residents to support small business merchants on Small Business Saturday and really throughout the year, because healthy businesses make a healthy community for all. And this is signed by me and on behalf of the town board members as dated November 16th, 2022. And we know and thank you for all the hard work you do to support small businesses in the community. I hope you'll feel free to address the audience, and then I'll come around and give you your proclamation.
Marie, we just thank you for your support, and
I think you're going to have to move it a little closer. There you go.
we just thank you for your support, Marie, and supporting the small businesses and as well as the Penfield Business Chamber. And we do certainly support our local businesses as well.
Excellent. And for those watching, just a reminder that Small Business Saturday is always the Saturday after Thanksgiving, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so I'm going to come around and give this to you.
Marie?
Yes.
Could I just say, in
Sure.
addition to you, in
Microphone?
addition to you, Carrie Ivers has been wonderful as part of, she's been very helpful to us as the part of the chamber. So in addition, we do want to make sure that she knows how much we appreciate her.
Yes, we appreciate the partnership.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's very sweet of you. I'll give you the money in the hallway.
We hired her
was
for
a
her sense
joke.
of humor.
Clearly, that was a joke. I'm sorry. Just remember, I'm in government and I shouldn't make jokes like that.
I'm going to have to deal with this tomorrow. I'll be right there.
Thank you for our directories, too.
Isn't it
Beautiful.
wonderful?
Yeah, it is nice, beautiful. I don't know if they've got a picture of it on,
It turned out beautifully.
Yes.
very
All
much.
Genesee Valley, Penny Saver, and Daria.
We had a good time with it, and we had a lot of participation. And just so you know, the Genesee Valley Penny Saver, put this together, but it was all of the businesses that participated. And part of what we do is once the expenses to put this together are completed, the Genesee Valley Penny Saver gives the chamber 15% of the profit. So there, we are getting from them it's $1,132.
Yay.
That's good. That's
So we were going to share that tomorrow at our annual luncheon, but it's a sneak peek.
Yes. It's a wonderful resource. It's a wonderful resource for all community members.
Can you just give a very high-level description of the directory? I don't think I heard it.
So in the directory, you will find the different quadrants for all the different small businesses. You will find coupons in there and advertisements, you can, for all of our local businesses in the area.
Doesn't every new homeowner get one of these in a welcome packet from the
Yes,
business
so
chamber?
every homeowner does receive one in a welcome brigade. We also have these at all of our community, different, businesses and things like that, too.
Excellent. And thank you again for your efforts to just support small businesses, even through the directory. I mean, I think that's a great outreach effort. So we really appreciate it. Deb, did you want to mention?
There's a nice map of all the business districts.
Yes, yeah.
I worked really hard on that.
That's beautiful. That's really nice, very nice.
I'm plugging myself.
We'll give you an extra plug.
Yes, those are our member businesses, and then there is a grid that will take people to other pages of where our members who are not directly in the Penfield community. So it outlines all our members as well.
I also think we should share with you, and Kathy's going to give me the number, but how many people do we have now as members?
When I first started as the administrative director about 2.5 years ago with Marie, we had 128 members. We are now at 162.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
So we're thrilled.
That's wonderful. I
It takes a village.
Yes.
always felt
a
the
town.
business chamber was poised to grow. So I'm glad that it's definitely taking off, right? Any other comments or questions?
That being said, too, I just do want to thank Kathy for all of her hard work and the design and the research for our Penny Saver, and to Daria for her hard work at really just reaching out to our businesses and, just putting this all together and, really providing a little bit of income even for, the chamber, some funds.
Well, I know you have two dynamos there at least.
yes.
Because I've worked with them before.
Yes.
So.
Yeah.
You're
But
a
I
good
have
group.
to say, people, when they see me, they're running away. I'm either pretending to be a member or I'm asking for an ad.
Yeah. And I don't want to leave out Lori either, because she just came on board and she's just doing amazing. Yeah, so just putting all of our events together. So kudos to her for really just jumping in the middle, so.
She's a hard worker.
Yes, yeah.
She'll be a great addition.
Yes.
No doubt, no doubt. Well, I look forward to getting to know you, Lori, and Amity as well. You're very welcome to stay if you'd like. It's a medium-size-ish agenda, or feel free to go on about your
How tired we are.
evening. I understand. I understand.
But thank you once again. really.
You're very
Thank you.
welcome. We do have one more proc to read into the record and some announcements, and then we'll carry on, okay?
Me to read the-
Yes, please.
Okay, so while the supervisor wasn't able to do the proclamation, I went down to the Bremen Post.
Thank
at
you
American
very much.
Legion to read the proclamation to Elmer Pankratz. He is the 100-year-old veteran who got a lot of play for turning 100 on television and something like that. And I saw him at the Veterans Day Parade. They honored him there, too, with two other men of World War II, which was pretty nice. So at this event, it was mostly his family, which was really nice, and they were pretty thrilled. So this proclamation reads, whereas Mr. Elmer Pankratz recently celebrated his 100th birthday on October 31st. And whereas Mr. Pankratz has called the town of Penfield home since 1950, and whereas he has an adoring family of 3 children, 5 grandchildren, and 6 great-grandchildren, and whereas he's a charter member of Faith Lutheran Church and a longtime hunting and airplane enthusiast, and whereas he is a proud World War II veteran serving from February 1944 to November 1945 in the United States Army Air Corps, and whereas he bravely flew 43 missions to Europe in multiple types of aircraft, including the PT-17, the BT-13, AT-6, and P-40, and the P-51D, and whereas he was awarded multiple honors for his distinguished service, including Air Medal with Oak Leaf Clusters, Belgium Foragery, European, African, Middle Eastern Campaign Ribbon, and now, therefore, be it resolved that the Penfield Town Board is proud to recognize this American hero and honored to have him call Penfield home. And be it resolved that the Penfield Town Board thanks Mr. Pankratz for his service to the country, wishes him well for his happy 100th birthday. This is dated November 5th, 2022, signed by our town supervisor, Marie Cinti, and our names, Debbie Drawe, Linda Kohl, Candace Lee, and Bob Ockenden. So,
Thank you.
congratulations to Elmer Pankratz.
Thank you, and thanks for presenting that last week. I'd like to ask the town clerk if you have any announcements.
I do not tonight.
Okay, Councilperson Drawe?
Yes, thank you. I have 3 announcements tonight. First one is employment opportunities here in the town of Penfield. There are positions and application information is available online at www.penfield.org/employment. And you can also, as you see on the screen, if we're looking for a job search, you can scan the code there and find out more information. My next announcement is keeping the leaves out of storm drains. We all know that I think most all the leaves are down now, or hopefully most of them are all down for us, and now here comes the snow. But remember that leaves, keeping them out of storm drains is very important. It's dangerous for cyclists, motorists. It ruins your streams and the lakes. It can cause flooding, increased stormwater maintenance costs. So any way you can help is by, again, making sure your leaves are off the street. Leave grass clippings on the lawn. Mow away from the pavement, and sweep or blow your clippings back onto the lawn. Or you can make compost, which is probably the most beneficial thing you can do with them. So thank you for that. And my last announcement here is winter parking restrictions. I hate to say this because it's really here, November 15th to April 1st from 2 a.m. to 7 a.m. There is no on-street parking of any vehicle on all roads, shoulders, including your highways. So, and this is pursuant to New York State and VNT 1660 Subdivision 8 law. So it's www.penfield.org/snow if you want any more information about this. But again, winter parking restrictions are now in effect here in Penfield and the county. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councilperson Kohl.
I have this one announcement that the town offices will be closed on Thanksgiving and the day after, November 24th and 25th. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Councilperson Lee.
Thank you. The Penfield Symphony Orchestra invites all residents to celebrate the season with a community concert hosted at Penfield High School on December 5th at 7:30 p.m. Check their website for ticket information. The town of Penfield is also hosting a holiday blast at the Penfield Community Center on Saturday, December 10th, beginning 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Like the family fun night for Halloween, the town is hosting holiday activities, cookie decorating crafts, and more. We thank Browncroft Community Church for their volunteer staff helping at the event. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I just have one final announcement, which is we are looking for active U.S. military servicemen and women for our Penfield Heroes Wall. We would like to recognize and honor members of the Penfield community who are actively serving in the United States military. If you would like to be honored or you know you would like to honor someone, I urge you to go to our website at penfield.org/heroeswall for more information and a nomination form I just want to mention that we've received about 8 so far. We are hoping to get those up by November 30th. Our lettering has come in. It will be at the community center. And we would like to formally show the wall and display the wall on December 7th, which is Pearl Harbor Day. We thought that was a very fitting date to choose to launch this. So with that, that should conclude our communication and announcements for the evening. Thank you. Okay. May I have a motion to enter into executive session pursuant to Public Officers Law 105 to discuss contract negotiations?
Yes, Madam Supervisor, I move that we go into executive session.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilperson Drawe with a second by Councilperson Kohl. Would the town clerk please call the roll?
Cinti.
Aye.
Drawe.
Aye.
Kohl.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
4 ayes.
All right, we will briefly stand adjourned while we are in public session. Thank you for your patience.
I know, but you got
I'd like to make a motion that we move us back into a legislative meeting out of executive session.
Second.
All right, I have a motion by Councilperson Drawe with a second by Councilperson Kohl to move back into executive regular session at 7:06 p.m. Roll call vote.
Cinti.
Aye.
Drawe.
Aye.
Kohl.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
4 ayes.
Thank you, and thank you, everyone, for your patience. I would like to move into our first public hearing. Oh, actually, it's our only public hearing this evening, and I'll have the town clerk read that off.
To consider adopting a local law to amend Town Code Section 250-7.1 to clarify regulations regarding fences, hedges, and plantings. The legal was published in the Webster Herald on November 2nd, posted on town website and town clerk bulletin board. No postcards were mailed due to this being a town-wide action.
Thank you very much. I know we do have someone here in the audience who wishes to speak. For those watching at home, you may call in at 340-8771, or you may go through our website at penfield.org. Would I like to ask Ms. Ivers to tee this up for us first?
Sure. As we've discussed at previous meetings, most importantly, the work session meeting that led to the setting of this public hearing, the town staff has, over the years, identified some issues, gray areas, omissions from the town code as it relates to particularly fences, but fences and hedges are in the same category. So this proposed local law would remove the existing 250-7.1 and replace it in its entirety with the proposed legislation that we provided and is available for the public to review. In addition to amending that section of code, we've also identified changes or additions to definitions that correspond to the regulations and would help clarify interpretations and exactly what's meant by those regulations. So if I'm going to give a general overview of what's been addressed in the update, the first one is a really critical one. There's new provisions, requirements that clearly state that fences, permanent fences, or any fence really can't be installed in easements, town easements, agency easements, and then it also prescribes the process by which exception might be made, and that's a town board hold harmless agreement, and that's clearly outlined now in the code. It was not before, and we've had instances, as this town board can attest, people after the fact put the fence up and found out that they were in an easement. So this will help clarify regulations. We've also clarified the specifications for permanent fencing. We've more clearly described the regulations for height and location of boundary and private fencing privacy fencing on residential properties, modified the maximum height for industrial and public utility uses, clarified or added deer fencing regulation, and also more clearly defined fencing regulations for properties used for agricultural production. And I think, and one other item that I would mention is that we did add regulations and specifications pertaining to seasonal and temporary fencing. So it was very clear about what was what.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll ask first if the board members have any questions of Carrie. Okay, is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak? Mr. Reitz, come on over. It's very good to see you again.
Likewise, thank you.
So please, for the record, state your name and address, and
Ronald Reitz, 1689 Scribner Road.
excellent, thank you.
So Ms. Ivers and the three of us were talking while you guys were out at executive session. Not sure exactly how this is all supposed to proceed. I haven't come to enough of these meetings to know that detail, but I'm told that I'm allowed to make comments on what's here. Again, not knowing exactly how things would proceed, I don't know that I'm completely prepared with all my comments, but I do have some material to share. It's a substantial rewrite of what was there previously, that's for sure. I think there's a few things that could be clarified a little bit better, some additional detail, and I guess it is now the time for me to go through and provide you with that commentary?
Yes, so generally, public comment is just what it is, it's public comment, and typically we don't necessarily get into a back and forth, but we do take all the information, and then this goes to a work session on December 14th, where we'll take your feedback and any other feedback we receive from now until then, and say, okay, let's talk about the concerns, et cetera. Do we need to revise, revisit, that kind of thing? Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Perfect.
I guess one prefaced comment, I'm glad to see that we've come this far with it. I am a little disappointed in the time that it took to get here. Another disappointment that I have is that I wasn't called on to contribute or to provide some commentary up front. I know you and I discussed this months ago, and I volunteered my time, my knowledge that I gained in going through all this, and I think everybody's aware that I'm probably the reason that we're discussing this topic now. And yes, it's been, again, like Ms. Ivers said, it was a continuous improvement thing that you guys are going through the town code and looking for shortcomings. This is one that, unfortunately, I'm intimately involved with, as, again, I think you guys know. So with that, comments on what I see in here, and the first page of it looks fine. Let's see how best to go through it.
If you want to go through it section by section, that's fine.
So the A, B, C, and D are fine. Section D has a couple subparagraphs, and land used in agricultural production. I've got that underlined in my notes, and I didn't see it in the rest of the document. The terms in particular, I think it's probably worthwhile to consider putting a definition for agricultural production in the list of definitions. That's a term that caused great heartache in previous discussions of the old code.
Mr. Reitz, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Can you just point out where you mentioned that again? I just didn't catch it.
Section D.
D?
Paragraph 3, or subtopic 3.
Thank you.
So agricultural production, and you've got a bunch of sub-bullets there, and those all sound fine, but again, the old code had wording about farm use and things to that effect that weren't defined, and that caused a lot of brouhaha that I think we can avoid if we add a definition like that.
Thank you.
Down to section E, paragraph C. The fence shall be structurally sound, deer fence. So this section deals with deer fencing, and as much as I understand and follow deer fencing, it's more than just deer fencing. It's meant to keep wildlife out of the garden area, and I think that's the intent here.
Would you have a suggestion?
So that's one that as I'm talking through it, I just brought that one up to myself. So no, not at the moment.
Okay.
But continuing on with paragraph C, deer fence may have solid posts and cross members must be comprised of more than 75% wire, open mesh, or open style material. A bunch of stuff that says how the deer fence, the garden fence, the perimeter fencing for a garden should be constructed, and I'm not sure that that needs to be defined. Why couldn't I put up a fence like I would a perimeter fence and call it a deer fence? I'm not sure what the intent was there, and again, I understand now is not the time for a dialogue, a back and forth on it, but maybe in a separate session we can discuss that.
Would you think a height would be better than calling it a deer fence and talking about all the ins and outs? I mean, what are you looking at?
So my whole thing, I didn't put it up well, the intent was to exclude the deer from my garden, but there's all the other wildlife that I have roaming in my backyard that I want kept out of the garden as well. There are dogs, there's fox, there's turkeys, and granted, they could probably fly over the fence, but the ones that I see, they're always on the ground, things like that. So
I think in WKRP in Cincinnati, they cannot fly. I'm pretty sure.
this time of year especially.
Right.
That's funny. So I'll get back to you on that one.
Okay. And what we'll do is we'll keep this public hearing open so that you can feel free to comment.
Great.
Okay.
The next subtopic, D, gives a square footage or a size of allowable garden area. And in my opinion, this probably should get stricken from the code because it's arbitrary who chose 5,000 square feet. Perhaps a percentage of the lot size makes sense because somebody wouldn't want an entire yard to be garden. Personally, I don't see the need for that sort of regulation. And actually, I do have, if this were to pass as it is, the fence post that I've installed for my garden wouldn't qualify for this. So I have a personal beef with that number. And in my case, it just happened to be the roll of fencing, the deer fencing that I did acquire, 330 feet. I wanted to use it all in one shot. I had the available space plus quite a bit more. And I'm able to make a 50 by 110 foot garden area, which exceeds this 5,000 square foot limitation. Again, though, but I've got a 5-acre lot. That's much less than 20% of my lot. So again, in my case, it's arbitrary. It shouldn't be there, in my opinion. The next one as well, I think, is some nice wording, but really has no business being in here, and that it reads, shall be limited to the immediate perimeter of a fruit vegetable garden or active orchard. So in my case, I've planned this garden area. I'm using the fence material that was available to me. I plan on using it all. The current plan for my garden beds and the orchard has about 10, 15 trees in it, and that certainly won't fill up that area immediately. But I do plan on getting a couple grapevines, putting those in there, and I will fill it out. But if I were to build it according to this code, again, I'd be in violation because my garden, the fence area is larger than the immediate use. So again, I think that doesn't need to be there and probably should be deleted. Paragraph F has sub-bullets for snow fencing and construction fencing. Again, terms that are used but aren't defined. I know what a snow fence is generically, but somebody might say something else about their fence they consider a snow fence and isn't what I would go to Home Depot and purchase as a snow fence. So I think you might want to consider definitions for snow and construction fencing. As well as the item 3, temporary fencing. Again, it sounds like it should be self-explanatory and obvious, but I've come across that in the previous code, what I thought was obvious in terms of definitions that Mr. Horowitz and others told me, no, that's not true. So I'm certainly not a lawyer, so.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Ms. Ivers, do you have the proposed draft accessible?
I do.
Currently, do you mind pulling that up on the screen so that we can track? Because I'm taking notes as he's sharing, but it would just be helpful to see it more in context.
Yep.
Thank you.
Let me download it. It'll be easier to view versus in the viewer here.
Thank you.
So I'll just,
He said paragraph F.
yep.
Correct.
We're here, right here.
Yep.
Yep.
Great, thank you. Go ahead.
All right. Moving right on to paragraph G then, calls out, this paragraph deals with fencing for pools and spas, and that needs to conform to the the New York State Uniform Code. And I guess I'd like to see a little more detail or some references for the Uniform Code. I know, again, that was part of previous discussions. The New York State Uniform Code isn't easily accessible. And if I were putting up a fence around a pool, I'd have to abide by this, yet it's not something that I can go and look up quickly, and it's not clear what this is telling me to do. So I believe there's some clarification required there.
You could reference it, like hyperlink it in the web.
I'm not sure if E-code allows that because
Okay.
New York State Uniform Code is available on the New York State Department of State's website.
Okay.
It is a PDF, but it's not an active PDF, and it's not a searchable PDF. So
How
you
interesting.
couldn't, I don't think you could hyperlink to this exact location. You could get to the code.
Okay.
But not to the spot in the code where, what I would point out, though, is the building department provides that information when an application is being sought. So the specifications or requirements are available in the building department if somebody needs them, or we're trying to, we can certainly look into this further.
Okay. Yeah, I don't want to get into a back and forth, but I
Yep,
understand.
Yeah,
Okay.
apologies.
No, that's fine. Thank you.
Also, I do want to ask a question on that. You said when an application is submitted.
And forgive me, it's, the application will only be if it was part of a site plan approval that was going to the planning board based on the scope of a project. So not every pool going in requires,
Okay.
the pool would need a building permit, and by virtue, they have to show proper fencing if fencing is required.
Okay.
So there's a building permit for the pool, and they have to show proper enclosure. Sometimes the pool itself serves as enclosure if it's an above-ground pool. They just have to have I'm sorry, now I'm getting into the weeds of building code, so I
There
apologize.
might be a
okay.
better way of saying it there, going through the building department for the permit or whatever, instead of just throwing up the
Yeah.
uniform code, because at least, like he's saying, you know where to go. At least you know to talk to the building people about what's expected versus trying to find this uniform code that nobody can find.
You know, what, that we'll certainly look at changing the language there to make that a little bit clearer or better.
Right.
Thank you.
Exactly what I wanted to hear, thank you. Let's see here. Paragraph I, a typo, I believe. Towards the end of the sentence there, 3 feet, 3 in parentheses, feet in height, width 20 feet of any property. I believe that width should be a within.
Correct. I do apologize. That was a minor typo that was caught before it was published, I think. Maybe, perhaps not. So I do apologize. But thank you.
No, I had great fun trying to find one, so, and that was the only one.
Oh, well, I'll take that as a win, because
Absolutely. Paragraph J, so I believe there's some work to be done on that one because you provide alternate text.
and you'll see here, I think there may have been an earlier iteration, so the one you see here has no alternate text, so
okay.
it's been corrected.
So just for clarification, I'm sorry to interrupt, is J,
J, as you're looking at it on the screen, is what it is in the proposed draft law, and I apologize, there may have been an earlier version that was shared on the website.
I probably just printed it too early, so that's okay.
Yeah.
All right, I got it. Thank you.
Okay, that moves us into the Section 2 documentation here that says, or that talks about the terms defined. And like I previously said, the agricultural production, construction fence, snow fence, and temporary fencing should be added to that section. And your definition of fence, comma, deer, and so it states a fence including any gates in such fence enclosing a fruit or vegetable garden for the intended purpose of restricting access to such garden by deer or other wildlife, I think would be appropriate there. Industrial use, the definition, the new definition in here at the end has repair or processing of products, parts, goods for commercial gain. And commercial gain was another sticking point of the previous code. Personally, I'd like to see a definition for that in the terms defined.
Okay.
Definition for right-of-way line. And there you have the line separating public street or highway from adjacent lots. I tried to look this one up myself and found many different definitions for right-of-way line, and none of them actually were as terse as the one that you have here. I think it needs some clarification.
I mean, like footage?
Well, so
That's often.
How you
the
measure it.
right-of-way line, if I'm not mistaken, the line separating public street or highway, so the right-of-way for, the right-of-way line for a road extends, I know in my case, onto my property quite a ways.
It actually, it doesn't extend onto your property starts where the right-of-way ends.
No, my property goes out to the middle of Scribner Road. The right-of-way is from the center of the road. I forget the
right.
dimension.
No, that's, the center of the road is where you measure.
Yeah, no,
I've always
it
been
varies.
told.
Every right-of-way is different, and one of the things about the change here is we've got to be careful because right-of-way line is referenced in other sections of the town code, not just the zoning code. So we'd want to, I'll verify this with the Director of Public Works.
As long as it's consistent, yeah. Well, that's all the pencil marks I have in mind for now, so, yeah, so I said my piece. Thank you.
So, Mr. Reitz, I think you gave a couple things for us to think about, and I want to digest what you said too, because I think I have some further questions for Carrie for the work session. I am going to leave the public hearing open so that you can continue to comment. Okay?
Yes.
And do the board members have any questions for Mr. Reitz before he concludes? No?
Actually, I do have one other thing that I thought of. I did make a note, but I didn't bring it up. It was right at the beginning of my section here. The Penfield Victory Garden, and that was a back and forth thing to, given my situation and the stop order that I had on my work and all that. Mr. LaFountain, back when he was presiding here, said that the town wasn't above the rules, that they needed to abide, and I believe you've echoed those words, Ms. Cinti. So noticed recently, not sure how recent, but there's been activity, additions to their fence, their garden area, I believe for the children's garden perhaps, and that the posts, much like my situation, and actually I think fencing material on it already, exceeds the code as it currently exists. And I bring that up, I guess I want to express my disappointment in seeing that the fact that I've been held to the stop work order against me, I haven't been able to do anything. Again, I've got some nursery stock that has suffered because of that. Yet the Victory Garden has gone ahead and done their thing, erected this fence and gone ahead with what they do. So again, in my opinion, there's a double standard there that doesn't please me. So I guess I'd like a comment on that, if there is one to be made. How come?
I just found out about it as well. I told them that it had to be lowered.
So will I expect to see them to do something about it, or will?
Yeah, I don't know if it'll be this year, as it's the end of the gardening season, but I said that it must conform.
Okay. Thank you. Again, I need to express great disappointment that we belabored this point, my several visits here to the town board, talking about that, and again, you, Mr. LaFountain, y'all told me that they were going to follow the rules, and they didn't, and that's disappointing.
Thank you for letting us know.
You're welcome.
Mr. Reitz, could you please spell your name?
Rietz.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything else?
Nope.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
If anyone else wishes to comment on this, please contact us. We can email the town clerk, and she will enter it into the record. I do not have anyone online or on the phone. All right, I'm going to leave the public hearing open, and we will move on to our first public participation section. If you would like to comment, you can reach us at 340-8771 through our website or in person. Is there anyone who wishes to comment during this public participation session? Okay. I'm not seeing anyone online or on hold. So again, we will have another public participation session at the end of tonight's meeting. Any additions or deletions to the agenda?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Moving on to approval of minutes from October 19th, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilperson Kohl with a second by Councilperson Lee. I did see two things that I hoped could be corrected, and I'm sorry, I just found them.
Okay.
And under public hearing number 1 on page 2, second paragraph, there's a $sign missing from 37,000. Could we just add the $sign back in?
And which page is that?
Page 2,
Okay.
It's under the second paragraph of public hearing number 1.
Okay.
And then on the 6th paragraph, first line, the town board will review comments from October 20th to 28th. Should that be receive comments? Because I think we left it open for that period.
Yeah, so there was confusion because originally it was closed and everything. So that is which page?
This is for the preliminary budget hearing.
Okay, so I'm just trying to find where exactly it is. Okay, here we go. And you said paragraph,
6, page 2,
yep,
under public hearing number 1.
we'll review comments.
There's a slight difference between review and receive, so that's all I'm,
Okay, so during the meeting, it was said that they would be reviewed,
Okay.
which is why it was put in there. But I'm happy to change it to received if you would like that.
no, if that's what was said, I think I must
And I'll
have
double check it.
misspoke, okay.
I will
Because I
double-
think it was on a slide as well, a PowerPoint.
I will double check.
Okay, could we just check that then?
Yeah, and if it is received, then I will put that in there.
All right, do we want to table these until the next meeting, till we have a chance to look at
We
that?
can.
Pardon?
Yes.
Okay, is everyone okay with that?
Sure.
It's fine.
Okay. Motion to table?
So moved.
I'll second that.
All right, a motion by Councilperson Kohl and a second by Councilperson Lee to table the minutes from October 19th, 2022.
Cinti,
Aye.
Drawe.
Aye.
Kohl.
Aye.
And Lee.
Aye.
4 ayes.
Has the town clerk or the town board members received any petitions?
No.
Okay, seeing none, we'll move right into our resolutions by function.
Authorization to accept and certify the standard workday report for elected and appointed officials.
So moved.
Second.
So be it resolved that based on the record of activities kept by elected and appointed officials for 3 months, their New York State retirement will be credited for service time worked as per the attached form, RS 2417-A. And be it further resolved, as required by the New York State and local employees retirement system, the standard workday and reporting resolution for elected and appointed officials will be certified by the town clerk and made available to the public via the town's website and posted on the official signboard of the town for a minimum of 30 days after the resolution is adopted. Thank you. And I believe this is something we do every 8 years.
A person has to do it every 8 years,
person
but
would
it's
have to do it,
it's
right.
done as needed by the town.
As needed, right.
Okay.
The town. Thank you.
It's a motion by Councilperson Drawe with a second by Councilperson Kohl. If there are no questions or comments, we can move right to a roll call vote.
I have one comment. Because my record of activities are included in this with the election of the term, I will be abstaining just to avoid any appearance of impropriety. I don't believe it is an actual conflict of interest, but I can understand that it may appear to be a potential conflict of interest, so I will abstain. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Noted for the record.
Cinti,
Aye.
Drawe.
Aye.
Kohl.
Aye.
Lee is abstaining.
Thank you.
4 ayes.
Yeah.
Or 3 ayes, 1 abstention.
That's good.
Thank you very much.
Budget transfers in the general fund.
So moved.
Second.
So whereas a transfer is necessary within the attorney account from the payroll line to the contractual line for the town attorney expenses anticipated throughout the year end, whereas transfers are necessary within the facilities account from equipment and infrastructure lines to contractual lines for labor and services anticipated through the year end. So whereas transfers are necessary within the recreation accounts due to enrollment changes and anticipated year-end programming, and whereas the town board desires to have an up-to-date budget in relation to current income and expenditures. So now therefore be it resolved that the attached budget transfers be approved. Thank you.
I have a motion by Councilperson Drawe and a second by Councilperson Lee. I do just want to note that these are just regular end-of-quarter budget transfers. Any comments? Okay.
Cinti,
Aye.
Drawe.
Aye.
Kohl.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
4 ayes, Setting a public hearing to consider issuance of a revised conditional use permit and site plan approval for a chiropractic office at 1801 Penfield Road.
So moved.
Second.
So whereas an application has been received by the Penfield Town Board for the issuance of a revised conditional use permit and site plan approval pursuant to Town Code Section 250-5.10-D to allow the construction of a building addition that will house a physical therapy room at 1801 Penfield Road in the Four Corners zoning district. So whereas the Penfield Town Board is best suited to act as lead agency within the meaning of the State Environmental Quality Review Act, which is seeker, and thus does hereby designate itself as lead agency pursuant to seeker. Whereas the subject application is determined to be a type 2 action pursuant to section 617.5 of the seeker, and no further seeker action is required. So now therefore be it resolved that the Penfield Town Board of the Town of Penfield shall hold a public hearing at the Penfield Town Hall, 3100 Atlantic Avenue, on December 7th, 2022 at 6:30 p.m. on the said date to consider the said application and to hear all persons interested in this matter. And be it further resolved that the legal notice of this hearing is certified by the town clerk, shall be published at least once in the official newspaper of the town. The first publication, therefore, not to be less than 5 or more than 20 days before the date set for the hearing as set foresaid. A copy of this legal notice should be posted on the official signboard of the town as prescribed by law. Thank you.
Thank you. I have a motion by Councilperson Drawe and a second by Councilperson Kohl for setting this hearing. Any question? Okay.
No?
Cinti?
Aye.
Drawe?
Aye.
Kohl?
Aye.
Lee?
Aye. 4 ayes. Setting a public hearing to consider a local law to amend Town Code Sections 250-5.12 and 250-2.2, mixed-use district and terms defined.
So moved.
Second.
So whereas the Town Board of the Town of Penfield wishes to consider adopting a proposed local law to amend Chapter 250 of the Penfield Town Code zoning ordinance to revise the mixed-use development regulations contained in Section 250-5.12 and modify or add definitions contained in Section 250-2.2, terms defined. The proposed amendments include renaming the district to the mixed-use development, embedding into the district regulations, the development requirements, and design standards previously contained in the Mixed-Use Design Manual 2017. Document defining the parameters for the planning board discretion on requirements, reorganizing the regulations to improve clarity and understanding of review process, and modifying existing or adding new terms defined to ensure clear understanding of the meaning. And whereas the Penfield Town Board is best suited to act as lead agency within the meaning of the State Environmental Quality Review Act, which is seeker, and thus does hereby designate itself as lead agency pursuant to seeker. Whereas the subject application is determined to be an unlisted action pursuant to seeker. So now therefore be it resolved that the town board shall hold a public hearing at the Penfield Town Hall on December 7th, 2022 at 6:30 p.m. To consider the said proposal and to hear all persons interested on the question of the adoption of the proposed local law to amend sections 250-5.12 and 250-2.2 of the Penfield Town Code to amend the existing mixed-use district regulations and related terms defined. A copy of the said law is attached hereto and made part of hereof as Schedule A. Be it further resolved that the town clerk she is hereby directed to publish and post a notice of the public hearing on the official signboard of the town in a manner prescribed by law. The first publication thereof not to be less than 5 days and not more than 30 days before the date set for the said public hearing, as foresaid. Thank you.
All right, we have a motion by Councilperson Drawe and a second by Councilperson Lee. And with no questions, I'll move to roll call vote.
Cinti?
Aye.
Drawe?
Aye.
Kohl?
Aye.
Lee?
Aye.
4 ayes. Authorization for supervisor to sign a license and hold harmless agreement to allow a fence within a storm sewer easement at 16 Dumas Lane.
So moved.
Second.
So be it resolved that the town board of the town of Penfield hereby authorizes the supervisor to sign a license and hold harmless agreement with Tim Dunn and Julie Engel, owners of the property of 16 Dumas Lane, to permit a portion of the fence to encroach into the storm sewer easement to the town of Penfield located at 16 Dumas Lane in a form and substance acceptable to the town attorney. Thank you. And this was, we discussed this at a previous work session. I think all were in favor. Thank you.
Great. Motion by Councilperson Drawe and a second by Councilperson Kohl. Thank you, Councilperson Drawe, for the clarification. And a roll call vote.
Cinti.
Aye.
Drawe.
Aye.
Kohl.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
4 ayes. Purchase of a Tiny Line Marker Pro robotic field painter.
So moved.
Second.
Whereas the Director of Public Works desires to purchase one Tiny Line Marker Pro, a robotic field painter from Otmo in Westerville, Ohio, for a total cost of $35,849.99. And whereas the Tiny Line Marker Pro meets the specifications and requirements set by the Parks Department, and whereas total funds of $35,849.99 for said purchase are available in the 2002 Parks Department budget, now therefore be it resolved that the Director of Public Works be and hereby is authorized to purchase said robotic field painter.
I'd just like to note that it's 2022 Parks Department budget, just for the record. Okay? And motion by Councilperson Lee and a second by Councilperson Drawe.
Cinti.
Aye.
Drawe.
Aye.
Kohl.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
4 ayes. Amendment to Resolution 21T-153, authorization to sign a professional service agreement for an LED street lighting conversion audit.
So moved.
Second.
Whereas Resolution 21T-153 adopted on July 21st, 2021, for the authorization to sign a professional service agreement not to exceed $34,000 with Real Term Energy US for an LED street lighting conversion audit, was based on an estimated number of streetlights owned by the town of Penfield. And whereas Real Term Energy has completed the GIS inventory audit portion of the contract, and after final review with town representatives, has determined the number of town-owned streetlights to be 871. And whereas the cost to complete the investment grade audit report is a direct correlation to the actual number of light fixtures owned by the town, and whereas the Town of Penfield Town Board discussed the need for an additional $7,500 to complete the investment grade audit report at a work session on June 22nd, 2022, and whereas the additional funds needed are available in the 2022 townwide lighting district budget, now therefore be it resolved that Resolution 21T-153 is hereby amended to include the full cost of the contract not to exceed $41,500 with Real Term Energy for their professional services.
Thank you. I have a motion by Councilperson Lee with a second by Councilperson Kohl. And if there are no questions or comments, we can go to a roll call vote.
Cinti.
Aye.
Drawe.
Aye.
Kohl.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
4 ayes. Authorization to post children at play signs on Penfield Center Road.
So moved.
Second.
Whereas it is the town of Penfield's responsibility to promote and maintain public safety on roads within the town of Penfield, and whereas pursuant to the New York State Vehicle and Traffic Law, Section 1660, the Penfield Town Board is here granted the authority to authorize the establishment of traffic control devices on town highways within the town of Penfield. And whereas the town of Penfield Transportation Committee has received a request to install children at play signs on Penfield Center Road between Fairport 9 Mile Point Road and Harris Road. And whereas the Transportation Committee was supportive of this request and made the recommendation to the Town Board to install children at play signs, as discussed at the Town Board work session on November 9th, 2022, now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board hereby authorizes that children at play will be established along both sides of Penfield Center Road between Fairport 9 Mile Point Road and Harris Road. And be it further resolved that the Town Board hereby authorizes and directs the Director of Public Works to post said children at play signs along both sides of Penfield Center Road.
Thank you. We have a motion by Councilperson Lee and a second by Councilperson Drawe. May we have a roll call vote?
Cinti.
Aye.
Drawe.
Aye.
Kohl.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye, thank you.
4 ayes. Authorization for supervisor to sign recreation contracts.
So moved.
Second.
This resolution authorizes the town supervisor to sign this one recreation contract, KB Dog Training, Kathy Boone, instructor for the dog training classes from September through October.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilperson Kohl and a second by Councilperson Lee. Any questions?
No.
Okay.
Cinti.
Aye.
Drawe.
Aye.
Kohl.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
4 ayes.
All right, this concludes our resolutions by function. We are coming up on our second public participation session, so if you would like to participate, you can reach us at 340-8771 or online. And otherwise, may I ask if there's any old business before the board? Seeing none. Any new business? All right. I don't see anyone in the audience. I do not see anyone online or on hold. I will declare this second public participation closed. There is no more executive session, and our next meeting will be December 7th, 2022. I wish everyone a very happy Thanksgiving, and thank Councilperson Drawe for chairing last week's meeting. And
Happy to do so.
I will declare this meeting adjourned at 7:50.